Greetings and welcome back, everyone, to episode 9 of Into the Nexus. I'm Garrett Weinzerl, and I'm joined, as always, by Kyle Ferguson. Kyle, how you doing?
Doing well. Doing well.
Doing good? All right.
Yeah.
And absent today is Mr. Willie Dills Gregory. He unfortunately he had a work thing come up that was, I guess, an emergency and couldn't wait, and it was very last minute. We didn't know he was going to be missing today's episode. So there's that. He'll be back next week, hopefully. Barring any unforeseen circumstances. But joining us today...
Work getting in the way of video game talks.
What?
What is this?
This is like the worst thing in the world, right? There's clearly nothing more important or terrible befalling mankind anywhere else in the world right now other than work getting in the way of video games.
Yeah, it sucks.
Yeah, it's terrible. Anyway, that voice that you hear is actually a close friend of ours, a constant teammate in all of our Heroes of the Storms games. Mike Knott, better known to anyone who's played with us recently as D-Day. How you doing, Mike? Welcome to the show.
Pretty good. Thanks for having me, guys. Appreciate it.
Now D-Day, to introduce you, I guess I would say you are the guy who used to be awesome with Illidan, and then
when he was good.
Plastered Illidan all over your Twitter and stuff. Like, yeah, this is going to be my hero. And now you don't play him anymore.
No, I just think his scaling is way too bad right now to be playing constantly. Like, he helps a lot during team fights, especially by picking someone off. But I mean, after that, it's just like there's not much you can do if you get caught out. You die instantly every time. Metamorphosis isn't that great anymore. So
yeah, he's a bit of a shell of his former self. It's yeah.
I would take that intro one step further and say, I think you're the guy we know who has taken this game the most seriously.
In our circle, that's definitely true. Yeah, you're constant. You have a team, and you guys have what, daily practice?
Daily, yeah. We tried to. We actually just lost a team member. He just backed out, so we're kind of looking for a fifth right now.
Okay.
Hopefully we'll find one soon, but yeah, we practice as much as we can.
Well,
so.
Do you want to put a call out here on the show?
Sure. If you're good at Heroes and you want to team up with us, just go over to my Twitter at ddaydrason and send me a message. And
Cool.
I can get to you if I can. So
Awesome. Well,
Team name?
Team Pals, right now at least.
Team Pals.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
I like it. Welcoming.
'Cause we're all pals.
Why do I feel like that is untrue once you get into the nitty gritty of
there's plenty of swearing and yelling at each other. So
5 dudes on mics together trying to work for a common goal. It's amazing anyone stays pals afterwards.
oh, yeah, definitely, especially during tournament play.
Yeah, man, I want more tournaments. I'm sad Blizz kind of stopped it right after we got our first one.
Yeah, I think the next when they actually put custom games back out there, it's going to be really, really intense. There are a lot more teams out there, and there's a lot more people in there, so we'll see what happens.
A couple of weeks ago, we were talking about a tournament that happened during that brief Wild West time where there was Tasteless and LZ Gamer was taking place, and you were part of that as well.
Yeah, that was interesting, and I'd only been playing the alpha for a week, so...
Yeah, so as of the one tournament that has happened in Heroes of the Storm, you've actually played in it.
Yeah.
So, cool. Very cool.
So what's your resume for getting into Heroes?
Well, I suck at all other MOBAs.
Interesting.
You just fueled a lot of fires, you realize, right?
Yeah. Well, basically, when I heard Heroes was coming out and I played it at BlizzCon, I was like, you know what? I'm going to dedicate my everything to this game because it's going to be huge. I was seeing how Hearthstone was doing, so I was like, all right, this is a Blizzard game, so it's going to be amazing. And practice on League a lot, mainly just with mechanics and everything. My brother is a diamond level League player, so practice with him a lot, and he critiques me on what I'm doing. So it's just got to constantly practice at it, and we actually do pretty well as a team until we just lost that member, and hoping that we'll possibly have a chance at BlizzCon maybe if we get into that tournament, but who knows.
Sure. That's awesome. It's really cool to have this sort of team perspective, even this early on in the game. One of my big questions is, so in college, I ran an improv troupe, which I think just about every other actor does at some point in college. But in that, it's kind of a school-based thing. You don't really want to kick people out, even though you're not that funny or you're not really good with the group. Like, if you're playing to win, you got to be kind of rough.
Yeah,
you guys.
Definitely.
So in Team Pals, like, I mean, have you had to say goodbye to a lot of friends?
One in particular, I don't want to name him, but it was just kind of it was just kind of hard to play because he didn't get along with the team right. So we kind of just separated ways, and we had our core team for a while, and we're just focusing on strategy, mechanics, and making sure everyone knew how to play their role. And the difficult thing is like, because the meta's still getting figured out, and not everyone can play every role, is when we're doing like draft mode and we have to pick a certain pick. Hardest thing to do.
I can see that. Start getting little heated.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. It was kind of hard when the first tournament happened. I only really played Illidan, so they picked Illidan. So I was like, well, great. I was like, all right, well, Nova, I played her a couple times, so
here we go.
Yeah, right.
Nice. Well, that's interesting. I'm really looking forward to custom games being unlocked again and seeing the competitive scene kind of develop for this game. So it's also interesting. You're looking at, like, E3's been this week, and you're looking at all these games. The new Smash Brothers, Evolve, all these games aren't even friggin' out yet, and the companies are hiring casters and bringing in pro players. And putting on these tournaments, like, for games that no one can even play, whereas Blizzard actually has this game in the hands of a decent amount of people, and they're kind of actively discouraging competitive play.
My favorite was watching the video for the new Ghost Recon, and it's like, oh shoot, I just dropped the hostage, and the team's like, it's okay, let's keep moving. Like, what kind of stage show is this? It's not okay. You cursed that guy out. He ruined the game.
Yeah, that's a rabbit hole we could fall down. But
well, I think a lot of the reason they haven't put out in the forefront a bit more is because it's kind of has some hiccups still. They're still balancing it, so it's like, hey, let's not put this out there, because it's like, if we do, it's going to get so much more out there that they need to keep updating it faster, and like, people are going to be throwing fits because, like, this, like Murky, when Murky came out, he's like, oh well, I'm just going to go into your base, I'm going to use March of Murlocs to just destroy your entire base.
Yeah,
nothing you can do.
right. I wasn't saying that as a bad thing. I was kind of saying that I honestly, I think these companies that are pushing these games as esports that aren't even out yet or even playable by really anyone outside of this company itself at things like E3, I find that odd. I've always kind of seen esports as something that the community decides and builds itself, not the company just being like, here, it's an esport, here it is, play it. What are you doing? So I don't know.
No, I agree completely, and it's always kind of weird to watch those exchanges, because you're like, look at this gentleman's games. Like when we were watching the original sort of in-store casts of Heroes.
Yeah,
we're watching them kind of stick to their lanes. No one's really being crazy and ganking, and you're like, well, that's not really how this is going to go down. This is a little too gentlemanly.
Well, yeah, but I'm sure if you went back to StarCraft 2 Wings of Liberty before it came out, and you watched the the show matches that Blizzard were putting out like 6 months apart at a time. I haven't watched them in forever, but I remember like watching those only 3 of them that existed over and over again because I was so excited for the game.
Yeah,
I'm sure if I went back now watching, I'd be like, this is not how StarCraft is played.
Right, you'd see the Marines standing there, and here come the Banelings, and they just stand there. And you're like,
exactly.
This player?
This was just to show off the roaches. Let's be honest here. This is not the composition you would be using in such an engagement, but nonetheless, let's get into the news this week. Over on Heroes Nexus, they put out kind of a big catch-all of all of the data mined heroes so far, and then kind of assigned them like the likelihood that they will get released, like tier system based on how much data has actually been mined for said heroes. They actually started off with the confirmed upcoming heroes that we've actually seen. Of course, the first and foremost being Zagara, because she was actually showcased alongside Lily, Murky, and Brightwing all at the same time. But then we also got to see the models for Sylvanas, Chen Stormsnout, and Kael'thas, so those are also confirmed, and they'll be coming soon. But the more interesting thing is the ones that we've seen nothing about. That is just solely from people just data mining. So under highly likely, they have Artanis from StarCraft, Varian Wrynn from Warcraft, the Lost Vikings from I don't remember the name of the game, and Skeleton King.
To me, it just sits the ice climber's spot.
So, is it going to be one Viking, or are you going to be controlling a troop of Vikings as they run around?
It's going to be like the Pokemon trainer in Super Smash.
Oh, that would be so awesome! I would be so down for that.
Like, there's just a pack of them running around, and you can only control one guy at a time.
Yeah. So, are we? Does Kyle, as Dota players, are we just assuming Skeleton King to be exactly like Skeleton King?
Yeah.
Sorry, Wraith King.
Well, that's the thing, was
they
had
names.
Skeleton King. It became Wraith King. They even took away his skeleton and made him a ghost instead. So I'm definitely expecting something very similar.
Yeah. So what are we thinking for roles as these guys? Do we think Artanis, another support, or is that going to be too much like Tassadar?
I think
Artanis is interesting, because
he'll probably be damage assassin type.
Assassin?
Yeah.
Because we already have a Protoss assassin. We already have a Protoss support. So I think it'd be interesting if we got a specialist or a warrior, but I don't see Artanis being a warrior. So,
whoa! I got to go back in time here, apparently, because Artanis put on some damn clothes. I didn't know this was the same guy from Brood War.
Yeah,
the sort of younger, naked one. Apparently, he decked himself out in armor, and I just haven't been up with the game.
I don't know if you've looked at anything in StarCraft 2 compared to StarCraft 1, Kyle, but a lot of things kind of got updated so that they didn't look like they were from the 90s.
Sure. But this guy stood in that tower that shot out the big wave and killed a bunch of Zerg.
Yeah.
Wasn't he in a scout unit too? In the game, so he could be in a ship flying around, maybe.
Well, and that's
Possible.
what we've seen of him so far as a unit, anyway. In that final level of Wings of Liberty, he was in like a very sort of decked out Phoenix, or not Phoenix. Oh my God,
Scout.
Yeah, well, but it flew in the model of the Crusader. I'm completely forgetting. It's been too long since Starcast. Garrett, you got to help me out.
It's called the Scout.
No, the anti-flyer only unit, anti-mutilus unit.
Phoenix, wasn't it?
That would be a Phoenix.
Yeah, okay.
Dear God, Kyle, you're melting down before us.
I'm confusing myself because on this list here is Phoenix as a likely character.
Okay. All right. Where is he? Oh, he's like all the way down. He's at the bottom tier, which they mentioned. They say is mentioned briefly. Is Cenarius, Ragnaros, and Phoenix are at the very bottom of this tier, where they found a little data on it, but not much. So that's cool. I'd be really interested to see Varian Wrynn. I'm a pretty strong belief that he will just be a tanky warrior.
Yeah, definitely.
Then under very likely, there's Kel'Thuzad, Maiev, who I've said on the show, but I really want. There's Rhaegar, Lady Vaj, and Asmodan. Asmodan would be awesome. Oh, just running around with that guy. Oh, man.
All his abilities just start with Foolish Nephilim.
Yeah. So out of this list, without reading them all off, and even going to the ones we haven't talked about, which ones would you guys be most excited to see?
I would probably like Blade Master and Rag. I don't know why, but Rag, I've loved Rag since I saw him in freaking Molten Core, and I think it would be amazing to be able to play as him.
I think they shouldn't scale him down at all either. I think you just shouldn't be able to see what you're doing when there's a Rag on the field.
He's just so gigantic that you can't see anything, kind of like Deathwing.
Yeah, exactly. Kyle, what about you?
It's funny. We have a list of likely abilities that have been data mined as well. Blade Master, only one ability mined so far. Blade Storm. Blade Master. He's gonna spin a lot, and that's all. The only button you get. Just press it all night. I'm of course excited for a new Barak. I thought he was the coolest thing, when I was 13, 16, or whenever that game came out.
Yeah, I agree. New Barak would be pretty sweet. I'm still most excited for Sylvanas, but we already knew she was coming out, so my second pick would probably be Maeve. Maeve would be pretty sweet. Blade Master, I want a Marrowgar skin for him so that every time he Blade Storms, he yells Bone Storm. That's what I want. Because
it seems weird that they do like generic Blade Master when you got, Hellscream.
Yeah. It could be a placeholder.
Weird.
I mean, that's the whole point of, being data mined. This all could just be placeholder stuff.
Right. So, can anyone explain the Rhaegar and why that's different from Rexar?
You're talking to the wrong guy.
Okay.
It's not Rexar. Rexar is actually listed in here. But I'm not. Rhaegar is a character from the comics, I believe.
Well, and I saw him very briefly when I played the beta this past week, the Warlords of Draenor beta.
Right. I'm not on the up and up with Rhaegar. I couldn't tell you. So, anyways, exciting.
Everyone wants to skin a wolf and put it on their head.
Right. Exactly. So, looking forward to it. They really need to put Zagara out. I'm really itching to try her out.
Yeah, I really want to play that too. I think that's going to be an extremely popular character, basically spawning units that what I assume aren't controlled, much like the other kind of spawned units they have as abilities. But it's just going to be a lot of fun to push with classic kind of looking StarCraft units. But I really want some assassins between then and now, just to kind of pad things out a little bit. The game's a little support heavy, or specialist.
Yeah. Unfortunately, I don't think it's going to happen because Zagara is the only one that's been announced that hasn't been released yet.
Yeah, I think assassins are. It's so straightforward playing assassins. Like, there's really no diversity. Like, you basically go in there, poke, or like barely tap someone and just get out. Just get out as fast as you can.
Yeah. Well,
and it'd be nice to have someone else that's more of like a barbarian type assassin, but.
That is, the warrior role is kind of weird in the game because you're supposed to kill people. Some of them not so much, but like you go back a month, like the Diablo trick of riding up on your horse to someone, grabbing him, flipping him behind you, then pushing him back in the towers. That was the hot jam, and you got some mad kills with that thing. Nowadays, you see a Diablo walking towards you who hasn't flipped someone in the last 5 seconds, and you know what's up.
He's out for blood.
Yeah, it's very true. It doesn't make him useless, though. I still see him used very effectively in game because at some point, he's going to catch you.
Diablo's so good.
There's going to be a team fight. It's not that he's useless. It's just early. You're not going to get that early game kill, but that's fine. The game evolves.
Yeah.
It's going to happen. So
the positioning you can gain from Diablo is amazing. It's so good.
Yeah. He's... as far as you probably did with your comp. You probably only run with one warrior, right? Do you ever double up?
We actually have a comp that we've been working on that has double warrior. And when I was scrimming with a few other guys like 3 days ago, the other team had 2 warrior comp with 3 support comp, and it was
really
something I hadn't seen before, and it just threw me for a loop. And it worked really well.
Well, a lot of the support in the game, some of them anyway, can actually put out a decent amount of damage while still healing or shielding. So I could see that working.
The amount of healing that's done by like a Lily is like, she is so strong right now, it's ridiculous. You have to like focus on killing her, otherwise you're not going to win that fight. You have to lock her out of the fight somehow, otherwise you're gone. And then having 2 other supports on top of that, like Uther and Tassadar, there's no hope for you.
Yeah, Lily's interesting because you need these sort of intro characters, but it's not quite the StarCraft situation where you can have, well, yes, that may be overpowered, but only if you are skilled enough to use it. That's kind of the problem I feel like Hearthstone's having right now is you can't really balance the game for high and low players because there's just not enough. You can't say, well, you don't even have the APM to perform these actions.
Yeah, honestly, I think she's a little too easy, to put it lightly. You can basically just run into a fight and be like...
You can call her a brain-dead hero. It's okay.
Yeah.
This might be my
Smash
bias
Q.
showing
Smash
through,
Q.
but yeah, no, you just hit Q. There's no targeting involved, and you just heal up everybody that's hurt. It's I don't know. Yeah, I'm pretty sore on Lily as well. But
Well, what would help you guys? Like getting rid of the run thing? I know that's a big frustration.
at least having to click your damn heal on somebody.
I think if they made the run like a cooldown and like you had to use it at the right time, it'd be a lot better. Because like, for example, like when I go in as Zeratul and I try to kill a Lily, I cannot catch her after I use my blink. There's no way that's gonna happen. And until you get the double bomb talent against her, there's no hope for you in catching her. Even then, she's still outrunning you with your W on her.
Yeah.
So,
for those who don't know, Lily has a passive that whenever she gets hit, she moves 20% faster.
Yeah, it's just maddening because, and that's our issue with Lily. There's actually I've got some tweets this week from people just like, yeah, why do you hate Lily so much? And it's not that I necessarily think she's overpowered. It's just that I think it takes little to no skill to play her correctly.
Well, that's kind of the point.
I get that, but you could still like just in at the I don't know. I don't want to just move a character around and smash one button. And I don't think anyone else.
You have a second and a third. Although the ult just sits there and heals everyone, and the dragon just sits there and shoots at people.
Exactly. Exactly. Like I don't know. I think you should have to click on people to heal them and activate your dash. So
she's the Rainer of supports.
She is. She is a Rainer. Rainer at least has to land skill shots. You know, he has to aim his freaking piercing round.
Or Hyperion.
Yeah, you can make fun of Rainer all you want, but I've seen some people aim Hyperion in the just most bizarre directions.
Not even the direction, just people putting it too far forward, so it maybe gets half a second of use before it's just flown beyond the fight.
That too, right? Exactly.
Yeah.
I'm wondering if I don't use quick cast because I'm from the Dota and StarCraft school, but I'm curious if maybe that's an issue because I've seen a lot of really haywire Hyperions this week, and I'm just like, what's going on?
They're probably clicking on the mini map.
You know, yeah. I can't fault him for that. I've clicked on the minimap before too. I'm so not used to this unbordered minimap. I actually really like it. I think from a design side of things, I think it's brilliant. Like their UI designer needs a round of applause. It's gorgeous. I'm just not used to it. I'm also just put the damn minimap in the bottom left-hand corner like it is in Dota and StarCraft, please. I'm so used to it being over there. I'm constantly clicking on the damn thing.
Got to be unique, man.
Yeah,
whatever you can do to stand out.
Definitely.
Yeah, what you gonna do? Anyways, speaking of heroes that annoy us, Murky has been the topic of some discussion this week, thanks to a forum post over on the official Heroes forum. I'm trying to remember. Oh yeah, it was the developer tooltip mentioned that they were thinking about a nerf for Murky, saying that they were kicking around this idea that was to further incentivize hunting Murky's egg. The idea was to reveal Murky if his egg is killed for some period of time, possibly 10 seconds. He said that makes it so putting Murky down after finding his egg is more feasible. He said that they also feel that because Murky could be alive so often, his ability to harass with, hey, look, March of the Murlocs, was too strong against unguarded structures. So they're taking a look at that balance as well. But they said the goal is to keep that moment as awesome as possible. So they're clearly paying attention and seeing what I think we're seeing. D-Day thoughts?
Do I know?
Yeah, I mean, you've probably fought him in the most useful capacity in your games.
I actually played against ZP's team like last weekend, and we had a Murky on our team. Unfortunately, they had to disconnect mid game, and I guess their power went out. But he's really, really, really good at just annoying people. And like we were running Gazlo Murky, so we had basically a two siege lane where we'd have someone top and Murky bottom, and they'd flip flop just to annoy the other team and make it so that they couldn't determine where they wanted to go. And his ultimate just shredded things. Like he run in there, March of Murlocs, run out, get away. The 10-second view, the sight on him, I don't think it needs that, because if Murky's not in sight, like you can at least see his pufferfish and you know where he is from there.
Mm.
But if Murky's aware when his egg is killed, though, right?
Yes.
So if Murky's aware that his egg's been killed, it would be smart to just stop throwing pufferfish until you can place your egg again.
It's hard to like. There isn't a. What am I trying to say? Like when his egg gets destroyed, it gives you a little noise when it happens, but you can't, like, if you're focused on trying to stay away from the enemy team, you don't realize the egg is dead.
Gotcha.
Like there have been plenty of times where I'm Zeratul, I run in there, kill the egg, and their Murky's still throwing pufferfish at our base and not realizing his egg is down.
Gotcha.
But like at higher end play, like I can understand where they're saying that it needs like a sight just to show you where he is, so that people can kill him. But at that point, he's just useless to the other team because he's so easy to kill.
So you're saying just stick with tweaking March of the Murlocs and leave everything else alone?
Yeah, I think that's pretty safe to say. I mean, his poison's pretty strong, and the fact that he can come out so quick, it's really, really hard to deal with his poison.
Yeah.
So like mid-team fight, if his egg is really, really close to you guys, that constant poison just whittles your team down so fast. And if it's March of the Murlocs, it's even worse because you just can't get out of it.
Yeah. Oh man, I've been caught in March of the Murlocs more times than I want to admit, and it's rough. It's not.
It
good
hurts,
being
but
in
that's slow. Jeez.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. So, yeah, okay. Well, that's interesting. We've had so much. People don't understand is we've had so much off-air discussion where we're just kind of. It's like the hate powwow. We're just sitting in a circle, just hating on Murky and Lily. So I'm so surprised you're being so metered and thoughtful, D-Day.
I know it's still being balanced, so it's just kind of like they'll fix it eventually. But our team has found ways to deal with him. Like it's a pain, but most of the time it's better to ignore him unless he's like behind your first fort. Like if he's breaking down your wall to your second fort, then it's time to start thinking, well, we need to deal with Murky. But
otherwise, yeah. You can force team engagements and they're down a guy.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Right, and to make that kind of clear to people who aren't playing this game and are playing other MOBAs, this game still doesn't have hills or any sort of site limits in that way. So it's pretty easy. And since there's no wards or anything like that, for you as Murky to sneak behind the initial place, the very first tower, and start laying siege to that second sort of main base tower.
Right. Yeah, that's when it gets worrisome. Yeah, that's what we were talking about. Was it last week or 2 weeks ago when people were asking what other kinds of maps we would like to see, or I think the question was specifically, would we want to see the standard Dota map in this game? And I said no, but I would like to see elevation introduced. High ground, low ground, line of sight, that kind of stuff.
I agree with that. That would be really, really cool.
Yeah, I mean, we kind of have it as it is with the shrubbery and the bushes and the fog and whatnot that you can stand in. But it doesn't mess with pathing at all. Like, the river in the center of the Dota map, there's a lot of strategic value to that. You don't really want to get caught down in the river because you can't just run directly out of it. Whereas if you're in a bush hiding in this game, you can go either way.
Well, and I'm thinking they're saving that for a map like King of the Hill. I mean, when you start designing maps and map types, you have Capture the Flag that we haven't seen yet, and you have King of the Hill.
Right.
And if that's not a hill and just a thing behind bushes, well, you're wasting my time.
Right.
Yeah. Like, I think that the strategy-wise, I would put so much into the game just by putting like a little cliff around a sight tower, like they do in StarCraft most of the time. It's like the enemy team has to be wary on what they're doing. Like, even though the other team can see them when they're going into the side of the tower, it's like you can still see what they're doing. Like if you have vision in that general area, you can still see the enemy team. But if you have that little cliff there, it's like, okay, should we try to take this tower? We need this tower. Should we take it?
Yeah, but you can't just approach it from any angle. You have to approach it from like a back angle where you're even more susceptible. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Where you can kind of get blocked in.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Then it'd be even more interesting for any character any hero that has a leap ability like Muradin. That, they could actually get away.
Oh, the Muradin body blocks, they're amazing.
Yeah, it's nice. Or awful, depending on what side of this you're on.
Yeah.
Right, but we really haven't talked about him much, but the last patch really helped him out a lot with his mana issues.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I've seen some Muradins just kicking trash.
Yeah, he's actually one of the main components of one of our comps, and he helps out so much. He's got so much control on him. He's just amazing now. Like they fixed the mana issues, so like he just got thrown in so many comps, and he just works out perfectly because he can initiate, he can keep people out of the team, make sure that they can't keep up with your team by throwing his hammer and stunning people. If he really needs to, he can Avatar, keep stunning people, and let the rest of the team get away, and then he can leap out.
Right.
Well, I mean, since we have you here, like, let's talk about that a little bit. What kind of goes into your comp decisions? And is there anything that your team is just straight up avoiding? Like, we will never have an Abathur.
Kerrigan.
Kerrigan?
Yeah, we try to stay away from Kerrigan. I think that people rely on her too much, and same with Falstad. Like, I can play them both. I'm not that great at Kerrigan, but everyone's either picking her or banning her. Like if you go into the draft like channel in Heroes right now, every game is pretty much banning Falstad and Kerrigan. Every game.
Interesting.
So yeah, it's just one of those things.
Well, I mean, Falstad's just a beast. Like, that's one of those characters that this happens to me with a lot of times. You'll be playing something, you're like, man, I need to play this character. This is awesome. And then you play and you're like, well, this guy's made of paper. What? How is this guy just destroying me in every game I play? It's like Tychus, too. Like, you'll play against a good Tychus, and you're like, man, that dude's a tank, unkillable. And then you'll play him, and what is this guy not a warrior?
Instantly.
Yeah, what happened here? I boosted in, my machine gun got rolling, and I did nothing.
Exactly.
Yeah. Like even though like Kerrigan is hard to play, she's like she's just so good. Like it's to the point where I think they're either gonna nerf her shield or do something to her. Like she's in a good place and she's just really, really difficult to deal with. She's got a solid initiate and you can't really get out of it. So
I mean, Blizzard has
nasty.
said that they're very happy with her and they're actually designing around her. They're trying to bring everyone up to her level.
It's a good plan, but she's just still so strong. Like if you get a good team, like whenever like ZP's, in my opinion, he's probably one of the best Kerrigan players. Like I don't like it, but every time I see it, it makes me cry.
It's so beautiful.
Is it just simply that, I mean, Kerrigan has the ability that as she does damage, she builds a shield for herself? Which goes beyond her maximum health.
Her stun and the fact that she can keep you from leaving the fight. Like that.
The vacuum and the stun.
Yeah, and then if they have a Stitches or something on their team, it's like, oh, now you're definitely not getting
I guess
away.
we're just never retreating.
Basically. Like when we play against them and they happen to have that comp, it's like one of us gets hooked and we're like, okay, we'll just leave him. He's dead. There's no point in wasting that. Like if we all go in there, we're all gonna die.
Nice. Well, that's horrifying. Let's talk about something a little more uplifting.
I feel like the other characters, a lot of characters have the choice or a natural ability to gain health as they do attacks. It's certainly nothing compared to the shield.
Oh yeah, definitely.
But you wanted to get us out of this hole, Garrett.
No, by all means, just please continue.
Just continue crying in our graves.
But basically, like to get back to what you were saying is like, we try to avoid going around the champions or heroes that are super powerful right now because we don't know what's going to happen. Like Illidan, I made that mistake with Illidan, and that's all I played, and he got nerfed into the ground. I kind of think like I love his new kit, but he got nerfed pretty hard. Like his metamorphosis is like I don't even pick that. The hunt is just so much better. But Yeah.
Well, do you think they're just kind of bringing Metamorphosis in line with Hunt? Because Metamorphosis was intense, and it was basically like, whoa, Illidan's Metamorph. Let's everyone forget the game and run.
Yeah, but now it's just like, oh, he metamorphoses. Oh, kill him. He can't do anything now. Like
Now he just gets a little higher in the air when he rides a horse.
Yeah, basically that's all it does. And like when you're in the middle of a fight, you metamorphosis. You have to hit enemy heroes in order to gain that health buff now.
Yeah.
That's the most difficult thing is you jump into a fight and he's completely melee. You play him like normal Illidan, but now he doesn't have bonus health, bonus attack speed, but his life steal doesn't really work that well.
Yeah. Yeah, it's rough. I don't know. I mean, you still had some good games with him. Clearly, I play with you a lot, but I'm not there for all your games. So you're all like zero tooling it up lately, right?
Yeah, Zero Tools. I love that guy.
He's fun to play.
He's a beast. I'm sad to hear that because, man, it's annoying when you have an Illidan on you. Like, you're just trying to back up. You can be at full health and keep leaping in front of you. I mean, those Illidan body blocks are frustrating.
Yeah, and like the thing is like you can 1v1 people, but if they have a slight advantage on you, you can't. And there's like no matter how good you are at that hero or at Illidan, you can't kill that other person because they have that slight advantage.
Yeah.
Like even if you're outplaying them, you still lose.
Well, I guess I could agree with that. It does look like you're doing a lot more work now. Since you're leaping all over the place and having to like, oh, I'm going to dash this way, but I got to keep my mind, that I'm going to dash through them. So I need to be ready to be there. And then I'm going to flip on the other side of them. It's, it's like being attacked by a little fairy that's just buzzing around your head with a needle and just like poking you.
That's a good way to explain it.
Where it used to be like, I mean, getting that mark on them, I mean, that felt like an art and kind of keeping your mark targeted well and.
Well, the hard thing about that, though, was that he had a silence. So it's like you mark someone, you silenced them, you jump into a team fight with a Metamorphosis and just silence their whole team for like a second. And like silence is so strong in this game, especially with like Malfurion and his AoE silence. It's brutal in a team fight. Like you can't do a thing. So like I understand why they changed him like that. But like I said, I love his kit. But he just needs some minor tweaks to make him in line with every other assassin.
Gotcha. Well, I want to see him come back because I enjoyed seeing Illidan in there, if for no other reason than for flavor.
As you can tell, he's my favorite.
Yeah. Anyway, speaking of flavor, Blizzard put out another episode of Building the Nexus, which had been these short little videos, kind of behind the scenes, the making of Heroes of the Storm, and they focused this piece on the voice actor of Gazlo, Travis Willingham, and if people are new to this show and you're not familiar with Kyle and I's dynamic, Kyle's a big voice actor nerd, so we had to include this and just geek out about voice acting real quick because the voice acting in this game is really awesome.
Sure. I spent my whole time while I was at BlizzCon over at the voice actors panel, listening to them talk. And it's fascinating to see how, someone pursuing a job would think about seeing Blizzard kind of come to their doorstep. And I mean, we were listening to like the female witch doctor and she was like, the second I heard about this, I had to get it because if you get a Blizzard role, you're like set. Jobs are going to keep coming. Expansions are going to come back. People are going to love you forever. Just talking about how much she fought to get that role.
That's great.
You're immortal at that point. Like these characters are gonna just keep going. Like people are gonna read the books and everything. They'll be like, "Wow, who was that?" And they're gonna listen to it like Gazlo.
Kyle, do you remember the stink everyone threw when the voice of Kerrigan got recast when StarCraft 2 came out?
Yeah,
people were losing their shit.
And then we found out that they were going to go with a more famous actor for Raynor because they had the money now, right?
Yeah.
And Robert Clotworthy is just completely oblivious, kind of, doing his other jobs, and kind of turns around when StarCraft's coming out and goes, "Oh, wait a minute, this game's huge. I had no idea. I was famous. I want this job back."
I'm so glad they gave it back. I can't imagine anyone else as Jim Raynor.
No, but it does drive me insane that when I listen to Spotify all day, I'm listening to these Camp Wisconsin commercials.
Oh, and it's Rob Clotworthy?
Oh, geez, just all day. Ranger Venture and talking about all the great sights I can see there. I'm like, and he's doing like the voice. It's not even he's not even jazzing it up or anything.
That's how I feel anytime Ancient Aliens is on, because he narrates that show, and it's just like, I'm listening to Rainer tell me about the Aztecs worshiping aliens. That's what's happening right now.
Well, that's
Does
just
he really?
Yeah, if you ever watch that show, Ancient Aliens, he's the narrator.
Thanks, Garrett. Now I'm going to think of that every time I hear that.
I'm surprised you haven't noticed. His normal voice is surprisingly close to Jim. Yeah.
Well, I did see him at that one BlizzCon. It was pretty cool hearing him talk like Jim. So.
He is one of the coolest damn guys. Guys. If you're new to this show, Kyle and I did a show about StarCraft called StarCast, which recently put on hiatus. But go dig through the back catalogs, because we interviewed Rob Clotworthy around the launch of Heart of the Swarm. And that was just such a treat to have him on. Anyways, so Travis Willingham, the voice of Gazlo, a.k.a. He does a bang-up East Side Brooklyn accent. Because that's basically what Gazlo is.
right. And there was also a treat to. It's always cool to hear voice actors or actors in general be nerds about their roles. So he was talking about like how excited he is that in this game he gets to insult other players who leave the game, or if someone's playing poorly, his character insults them.
I didn't even notice they were adding that into the game. When I heard him say that, I was like, wait, what? Now I'm going to start listening to every time someone like disconnects and see if they actually say it.
Well, right now it's still just the general announcer.
Yeah.
Or whoever the Raven Lord or it might be.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if they change it in the future to where whatever hero you're playing, that's the one you hear kind of rip on whoever left.
Oh yeah,
be pretty
it's
cool.
still really cool though.
Yeah. No, there's so many good flavor things. Like we've talked in previous episodes about how when you get two characters from the same, IP in a lane together, they start yapping at the beginning of the game.
I think it'd be cool, like if it's gonna be cool to hear like Maev and Illidan talk.
Yeah, exactly. Like currently, Tyrande and Illidan have dialogue, and so does Illidan and Malfurion. So yeah, I'm all for that. I was also looking at what else Travis Willingham has done, and I actually just beat the most recent Infamous, and apparently he was Reggie, the brother in that game. And I don't know if either of you have played that, but that character is awesome. So I was very excited.
I have not.
Oh, gotcha.
No, but he's also been Thor in a number of things, as well as Knuckles for the past 7 years or so in every Sonic game,
and Talon in League of Legends apparently.
That one I do know.
Yeah, see that one I don't know. So
that one I didn't expect to see, and I don't even understand how some of these voice actors can do the stuff they do. Like this sounds so different, and they're in like minor roles. It's just insane.
Yeah, absolutely. I just saw a video last week of Mark Hamill doing the Joker voice live at a panel. Oh, that was weird. Yeah. Watching Luke Skywalker do the Joker voice.
I'm so excited for those new movies.
Oh, I can't wait, man. I can't wait.
Did you guys hear that Harrison Ford got hurt, apparently?
Yeah,
No.
the door closed. Opened the blast doors and it closed on him.
No, Han Solo got hurt by the Millennium Falcon doors.
Yeah, it slammed on him. He got crushed.
Oh my god. You gotta be kidding me.
Apparently he's okay. I think it was on his ankle or something, but I mean they helicoptered him off the set.
That
Oh, wow.
sucks. I did not hear about that. I'm gonna be reading that after this show. I'm gonna look up that article.
The man is surprisingly, because he's an attractive man, he's 71. It's like when you see Shatner running around, are you really in your 80s? You just keep trucking, man.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, let's get into the strategy talk, which I feel like this entire episode has been strategy talk since D-Day is here.
Sure.
But now we can really lay it on thick. Much like last week, we're going to lead in with an email from a listener. Caliban wrote in this week and said, "Howdy, Nexagons. I'm so happy that's becoming a thing. After hearing the show, I've been trying Abathur and having a lot of fun. Not an expert yet, but I'm loving making the difference for my teammate getting a kill or mirroring them and wreaking havoc with double ultis. My simple question, what is the cushion on top of the core health bar? Is it a shield? Thanks." Well, Kyle, this made you want to talk about the different types of buildings and obviously answer this question.
Right. I mean, when you're kind of looking at the website, very much laid out like the back of the box for this game would be. they have the quote, or towns, not towers. So there's actually a lot of different buildings to this game at the moment. And one of them is, of course, the main core fortress. And it does have a regenerating shield. It's not a lot. It gets up to, I would say, maybe like 15% and kind of starts there. But this allows you to have a little bit of leeway. If, you really push them off at 1%, you can kind of get back up to like 15% and enjoy that comeback.
Yeah, it's an interesting mechanic. It's not game breaking by any means. It does not stop a death push. I mean, I've seen cores go down real fast.
Well, and there are global abilities in this game. Like, I mean, Nova can fire a giant laser from the sky right on top of the core. There's no backdoor protection. I mean, if a Murky really works at that core, gets it down to 5%, and then a Nova just drops a blast on it, I mean, that could end the game. This kind of helps prevent that sort of thing. Same with Sergeant Hammer shooting a giant bullet,
just clear across the map. Yeah, exactly. That's what
giant Mario bullet just across the map, and then I guess in the lore anyway, it rotates the entire planet.
Yeah, it orbits the planet, man. If it went backwards, it would turn back time, Superman style.
Right. But it can keep just hitting the core over and over again, and that works well with this ability because it allows it to kind of stop the regen, but stops it from getting all the way knocked down over and over by ability that's passive.
Exactly. They cancel each other out.
The problem with that though is like you have to angle her ultimate in the at the right angle, otherwise it won't do anything to it. Like it'll just regenerate faster than it's damaging it. The cool thing about that shield is that for instance, Murky goes in there and throws a pufferfish at it. It's just going to take down that shield, and then the shield will regenerate. There have been occasions where we were down to like a 1% to 2% core. We fought them off, got them off of it, and the shield regenerated to the point where we are kind of okay, and we pushed back and won. But because of that shield, the second someone sees it at like 10%, they're like, oh, we can kill that so quick. So they'll rush in there. Meanwhile, it's regenerated 10%. So they're going in there to a 20% core, and our team is all there waiting for them,
exactly.
And we just take them out because they're going to ignore the team and they're going to go straight for the core.
Well, I think that's a really awesome thing because it incentivizes exactly what you and your team are doing, which is like don't give up. If it's at 10%, you can push it back and let it heal up, and you can leave your base and counter push.
Exactly, and there's so many things like you can make one mistake and like go into the mines and you're done because the other team's just going to push and win.
Yep. I've lost and won many a game because of that. So, yeah, that's awesome. Was there any other building types that you wanted to highlight, Kyle, or do you just want to give a quick overview for listeners who aren't in the alpha yet?
Yeah, absolutely. And certainly if you guys have any sort of tidbits about these, certainly chime in. But one of the interesting features of Heroes is the towers have ammo. And this means that if you push them hard enough, or use certain character abilities, you can stop the towers from firing until they regenerate that ammo again.
Yeah.
Are you talking about Demolitious?
Right.
I like where they were heading with that, but I don't like how it works in game. Because you can take away as much ammo as you want. It's good early game. Like, don't get me wrong. It's good early game because you don't have the damage. But late game, it just falls off so hard that it's just pretty much useless. Like, you can shoot their fort, and you'll take about half the ammo away, and their fort's destroyed.
Yeah, so, and that's always a tough question. Like, some characters, let's say, have, like, Bribe, which is a very sort of mid-game ability that you can take on your first level. And then you also have Demolition, which is going to really rock it, maybe for the first 3 minutes. And then after that, you're going to pretty quickly run out of that. It drives me nuts in games having to answer that question. Do you want a bigger gas tank, or do you want more or less fuel usage? And it just breaks my brain every time.
You're like, I don't know. These are both so cool.
I would like both. Can I get both? Oh, that's funny.
The other thing that's going to be sitting by the towers is a wall, which doesn't happen in your other MOBAs. And this is basically, it works pretty damn cool, actually. So between your two towers, you have two, actually, not just one kind of sitting there. You have two towers protecting, and then sort of static walls that just aren't very special. Walls do nothing. You can destroy them to get by them. But in the middle, you have a wall that you can pass through as long as it's your own. And this also stops abilities like Nova's Snipe or a Stitch's Hook.
With that middle wall, it's so crucial to get that thing down.
I was about to mention that this past week, D-Day, you broke me of a bad habit, which was I would always prioritize the towers first because in my mind they're doing damage. If these are down, we can engage here for longer periods of time. But you were just like, stop it, please stop it. Because if the gate's down and there's other heroes there, which are a much bigger threat than towers, you can actually engage them, or more importantly, you can see them so that you can engage them properly.
Yeah, and that's the thing is like you can see them coming in. Like you'll see one hero pop in, and you're like, okay, all right, maybe they're trying to do something funny, and then you see another one, you're like, okay, we need to back out of here.
Exactly.
Like gate first is the best thing to do because it's like you know that they're going to be coming in at some point to stop you from pushing. And if you have that gate down, like Abathur can't be sitting over there anymore. Like if an Abathur is sitting there, he's dead because that wall's down. Everyone's gonna be like, I see red when I see Abathurs, so I have to kill him. It's just one of those things.
Probably comes from playing Illidan and being able to jump him.
Yeah, that's a lot of fun. And then he burrows away. And you're like, no. But yeah, like that middle wall is like key to take down. It's so good. Like I see a lot of people not doing. They're just going for the towers, tower. It runs out of ammo eventually, guys. And that middle wall is always going to be there unless you kill it.
I really can't think of any better example than Dragonshire for the importance of the wall, because usually the very first dragon comes out, walks down that middle lane, and the majority of dragons start attacking towers. Meanwhile, the other team is safely behind their wall, or if they're a melee, they're juking in and out from behind their wall. They're not going to get kicked. The ranges can very easily just stay still, maximizing their damage that entire time, and you're going to lose your dragon really quickly.
Oh yeah, and the thing is like when you're pushing that middle wall down, like they don't want to engage at that point because they have nowhere to hide. Like the dragon can just punt people out of the fight constantly, and that's another thing. Is like you don't want to constantly be using those abilities. You can't use the W, then it's like there's no point. Like you take the dragon to make sure the other team can't get it. Like you don't want to pretend that you have it and then not take it. You just want to take it and push with it.
Yeah.
One of the other things sitting in that sort of outward base, along with these walls and your two towers, is the healing fountain, which is a unique ability. And frankly, I love it because it means you don't have to walk back to the main, or it's also solving the problem of items that you would have to get early on.
We don't have potions or leaves that let us eat trees. So this is how you heal in battle, outside of having a healer.
Fountains are your best friend.
Exactly. When you're pushing, they're not the most important thing to kill. But if you're pushing with any creeps, any mercenaries or a golem, they tend to smack it first. So might as well just kill it real quick, get it out of the way, so your golem starts whacking on the important stuff.
It also has very little health.
Yeah, it doesn't take that long to kill.
I don't know about you guys, but when I'm playing and like someone kills my fountain, I hate them so much.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
You're just like crying to yourself, why did you just take that?
It's like someone crapping on your carpet, man. Let's face it. You come into my house and you kill my fountain?
Right?
You want to go? Is this because we can make it happen. Let's go up back. I'll meet you.
It's the same thing when you go kill theirs.
Yeah.
You kill theirs and you're like, hey, what you guys gonna do about that?
Well, it's very much one of those things like, they'll push, they'll have a strong push. They take out like 3 of your teammates. They get in there, they knock down all the walls, and they're like, okay, guys, let's be safe. Let's get back. And then there's like one Arthas that's like, no, I'm sticking around, guys, and like just starts wailing on the fountain.
Yeah.
They all just watch.
Are they gonna come in for him? Are they gonna engage him on the fountain? No? Okay. So anyways, Caliban's email also kind of leads us into Mr. Abathur here. So let's talk about the the number one hero that gets D-Day killed. Not because Abathur actually kills D-Day, but because this makes D-Day push way too deep into enemy territory to get the kill off on Abathur.
It's only when I'm playing with you guys, though.
Oh, I'm sure it never happens when we're not watching.
Right?
Yeah.
Look away, guys.
Sure, it only happens when we see you do it.
Or turn around. Just turn around.
Turn around, guys. Turn around. That for me, that's Lily. If I see Lily like about to, I'm just like, I will kill you. I'll try.
Yeah, we've done that a few times. We like go down to their second fort. We're still chasing her.
Yep.
Like, just die.
And then the rest of the team's like, Garrett, D-Day, what are you doing? There's a Lily, and she has to die.
There's nothing about it. Like, don't worry about it. It's gonna happen. She will die.
Anyway, so let's talk about Abathur.
Yeah, Abathur is someone I've wanted to talk about for a long time on the show, but it's not someone you want to like do the first show. It's not a character that you say you want to get into this game. Hit up Abathur, man. You're gonna like no, do not touch him.
No, Abathur is one of the most unique heroes in Heroes of the Storm.
But it is so crucial to know what he's doing so that you don't rage or think you have a useless teammate, which you might. I mean, there might be a bad Abathur.
I assume all Abathurs are useless because I never win when they're on my team.
Abathur week? No.
Abathur week is the worst week
you.
in the game. When Abathur is in the free-to-play rotation, solo queuing is hell.
It's a bit rough.
It's going to be like Murky week. Like Murky week and Abathur week, I'm going to hate.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, Abathur is just, in general, he's really good. Like, his early game is strong, and his late game is even stronger because he can help out team fights so much.
Yep. What do you need? You need an extra healer? Got an extra healer. You need an extra assassin? Got an extra assassin.
Exactly, and it's easy to combat the other team because you can, like, say they have 2 Kerrigans, then you need to have more heals, or you need to be able to force them out of the fight. If you have a Zeratul, you have 2 Void Prisons at that point.
Yep. Yeah, it gets real scary, man.
Well, and for me, like, he has been, well, we played some after the show last week, and I was so happy that we basically went from talking about Tassadar to me just being like the textbook example of what you should do with Tassadar and
Your
just flaunting it all over the place.
week was ridiculous.
Thank you.
His shield is so good.
Yeah.
His shield is phenomenal. He gets the mule. Like, he was the perfect sort of anti-Murky. But when I'm solo queuing, I feel like Abathur is, because that means I'm not enraging Garrett. Abathur is a wonderful anti-Murky because he gets mule, as well as Murky's destroying the pufferfish isn't really based on damage. It's based on number of hits. So Abathur can burrow, sort of teleport across the entire map and really babysit really easily.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good point. So let's talk about Abathur. Obviously, the big thing is you want to make sure you play him conservatively, because if you do, you don't get caught by people like D-Day and you don't die. If you're hiding well.
That's one thing right now is, like, his symbiote. I don't know if it's bugged right now, but you can't kill him when he's using symbiote.
Right, that is a bug.
It is, because it drove me up the wall. I was sitting there trying to kill him, his symbiotes, and then I can't. Like, I can't even touch him.
So that's when he's in his pod thing, right?
Yeah, it's when, like, he's using an ability on another hero, and so he just goes in that little bubble and can't be touched.
No, I can assure you, before the last patch, I was dying in that bubble when I sat somewhere stupid.
Oh, I remember.
Gotcha.
I killed many in Abathur.
Okay, so it wasn't a marked change. It wasn't a Abathur can no longer be killed while using symbiote.
Right, it seems a little just silly to be like, oh, they're coming for me. Let me just sit on top of a hero for as long as I can.
and wait for my burrow to come back up. That would be a little broken. Like, he's
Yeah.
already so good, that would just make him ridiculously good.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. So what else, Kyle?
So Abathur is your global awareness, and if you're not the kind of player who wants to have that great responsibility, probably should avoid him. But you need to be watching the map the entire time.
Yeah.
So let's kind of go through his basic abilities, as it were, because he's got a lot. One of his abilities opens up a whole nother tree of abilities. But at first, you just get into a game, you're looking at what he's sporting. You have the Toxic Nest. This is going to be your hiding little mines all over the place. they're annoying, but they're not going to win you any games. This is not your techies from Dota.
Well, they can easily win you games, like with Blackheart's Bay, for example.
Yeah, well,
like
that's a great one because there's like one place everyone has to go.
it's so annoying. Like Garrett, we were playing a game like last week.
Yep.
And I was yelling at the top of my lungs at Abathur. It was insane. Like I couldn't think straight. I was getting so mad at it.
Yeah, it's yeah. Like Kyle said, it is a map where there is one location that somebody from both teams has to go to.
Well, and Dragonshire, you have 2 points on that one, but you have a very predictable, they're pushing the lane, all right, I'm going to kind of make this curve up and around the bushes walk that they do. So it's very easy to kind of line the trail. I come from Dota. I'm used to techies in Warcraft 3, so I always have my finger over the H. If I start seeing mines going off, you just hit that button and stop moving.
I know the Locust gives you XP. Do mines give you XP?
No.
No.
Okay.
And XP is very much it's your area. I don't think the Locusts give you XP either.
I thought the Locust did. Okay, so
No.
Okay.
That's the symbiote, which we'll get to in a moment.
Okay.
Yeah, that's why he's so good though, is because like he can be in a lane and not even be in that lane.
Right. So his other ability is the Locust, which he's auto spawning. Can't really do anything about him. This is usually why I had a guy yell at me once, dude, Abathur, just sit back in the fountain all game. What are you doing out here? It's like, well, they have timed life. Like, I want them to actually get something done. So you do need to at least be out to your first tower to have them interacting with the lane. They're not going to walk all the way.
Right, exactly. Now, when we were seeing Abathur demoed for the first time by Blizzard in some of the show matches, do you ever actually do the thing that they were showcasing where on a map like, say, Dragonshire, your teammates are at the bottom and top shrines and Abathur burrows and takes the Dragon Knight?
Yeah.
Or is that just too risky? So you do it?
No, I've done it a few times. In fact, I love being Abathur on Blackheart's Bay because when you use your ultimate ability, your ultimate evolution, you can get kills, you can gain coins, and then when your team is just owning them in the other base, you can just teleport right on over to the turn-in. Your coins are with you, and you just drop them all.
Okay.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
Gotcha. Okay, because you see, I don't play Abathur, and he's so damn squishy that seems so risky to me.
I mean, there's been plenty of games where both teams have been so busy that I've gone for a tribute on Ravenlord.
Okay.
Just sitting out there. Everyone's busy or dead. Everyone watch Abathur sit here and take your precious tribute.
And the thing is, like you're saying, like in Dragonshire, it's easy for him to get out too because he can just burrow out.
Yeah.
Right. And an important thing we talk about Burrow, being this ability, this global ability, you dig for a few seconds and you pop up anywhere on the map. You still have, this isn't it replaces your mount. You can't get on horseback as Abathur. That'd be real silly. But you still have your Hearthstone. So you can burrow somewhere, maybe use your ability to spawn a wave of locusts, and then immediately pop back to the main base.
Okay. You're selling me on them. So what are the cons?
Well, the cons really come with the fact that you don't have a physical body there. And I feel like that affects a lot of people mentally. When they're running in and you're like, no, I'm on you. Use your other ability, symbiote. You become a little bug on top of their head. You see what they see. You can shoot some spikes. You can shoot a spike forward with a skill shot. You can give them a very tiny shield, which you can augment with other abilities later. But someone has to know the limitations of that shield and those abilities on you. It's going to be a great DPS boost, but, you're doing about 200 damage every couple seconds. Having someone like a Nova just run up alongside you, that would be a much bigger help in killing some people than just having a couple skill shots.
Right. So, now you're not selling me on him as much.
Well, right. So, but you have to realize that, it has to be bad because it's global.
Right.
You know, like it can't be the best thing in the world because you're casting it from from your bed, basically. No one's gonna come kill you.
It's so good. Like that thing in so many fights, like his spike has killed me so many times. His shield has saved the other team so many times. Because early on, even late game, like because it scales with life and everything, it's like you have to be careful because Abathur can pop on at any time, pop that shield on there, and completely turn the fight around. Because it goes from a one-on-one instantly to a 2v1, and he's doing damage on top of shielding the other guy.
Right. And it's so easy to forget that because you're joking about seeing red, but it's definitely something that happens. If you see a potential kill, you generally go for it. Like if someone's like that one hit away, you're gonna chase them.
Especially if they're overextended. That's the thing.
Right.
But
really,
at this point in the game, we don't have ranks, which is another thing. Like, you know, I'm not going to queue up in platinum level and think, okay, every single Abathur I meet today, you know, I can never engage one-on-one because he's going to be there.
Yeah, that's a good point, too. You don't go into, especially if you're playing solo queue, you don't go into every game thinking, I have to play as safe as possible.
Because who knows, this Abathur could be like, I'm going mines heavy Abathur, and I don't know where I'm putting these things. And you know, just missing out on half the game.
Yeah.
So a lot of playing with Abathur, you know, if you're just getting going, it can feel like you're at a huge disadvantage that your team's, you know, you're contributing, but your team's kind of at a deficit until you reach 10. And that's where you can use your ultimate evolution to become a copy of a hero on your team, and only on your team. You can't steal someone from the other team. You pop up in a little egg, and you got a couple seconds to spawn. People can... If you do it dumbly, you know, you can stand in a Hyperion and lose half your health before you pop out. And you pop out as an untalented hero. So if, you know, the other hero augmented their main blast to hell and back, you're not gaining that benefit. Though you do gain whatever ultimate they picked.
Which is perfectly awesome and fine. Because double ults can be so devastating.
Oh, yeah.
You ever been caught in a double maelstrom, D-Day? Like two Kerrigans just converging.
Yeah, it's not nice.
No, it's a terrible thing. And then there's double rakes to pull you back in.
Even worse is two ETCs, because they time it to where we had one random game that like an ETC went in, and then the Abathur went in after that.
Yeah.
ETC ulted, and then right after that, the other ETC ulted.
Yep, yeah, just mosh pit, just stun the entire team for a good minute.
Yeah, and you're like, okay, well that fight's over.
Yep.
I mean, Dills isn't here to giggle about our 6 taps or whatever, quintuple. I'm not sure how many taps that would be,
Triple
but a lot of
taps,
Nova
that'd be a 6 tap, a sex tap,
a sex tap. Yes.
Yeah. Triple tap's definitely falling out of favor, but there's just something still just very awesome about a double triple tap.
Or just something as simple as, you know, double Hyperion going down.
Yeah. Anything that's good, 2 of it's better.
Yeah, pretty much. Like, there's no... Like, they fixed Abathur to where he's so, like... He's a lot more balanced than he was before. Like, he's super strong, and he has to be a little stronger because he's just sitting in the back of the base doing nothing. Well, not doing nothing. See? I did exactly what you were just talking about. He's not doing anything. But really, he's like, if you're fighting against him, you run into the lane, and you're like, okay, like I was saying, a 1v1 turns into a 2v1 really quick. And half the time, if you're trying to work on positioning and everything, you don't notice that symbiote's on top of him, killing him.
Yeah.
I mean, I had a guy do this to me in a game the other day. I was solo queuing, and I guess he hadn't played many games. Maybe he just got in, but he's like, Abathur, what are you doing? Abathur, what do you do? And I eventually, after the 3rd request, I just typed, I'm very busy. I hope so.
I have my fingers in all of the pies right now. If you could please shut up, I would really enjoy it.
Pretty much, you got to be everywhere, and it is not a hero that you just kind of wander around and have a good time. Like, you know, there's no hero you should probably be playing this game like. There are a couple. Like, if you want to just, like, walk around, stomp, and be a badass, like, pick yourself an Arthas, pick yourself a Diablo. But Abathur is one of those, like, you're symbioting people. Bam, you're helping out that guy. It goes down. It has a couple second cooldown. So you need to be throwing down some mines in that couple of seconds. Boom, you're over to the next guy. Wait, what? Your ultimate's done. Okay, I need to check out for a fight. Go over here, go over. It's just, you're constantly busy.
So multiple personality disorder would be something really good to have, is what you're telling me.
Sure.
Yeah, okay. All right, good. Sounds fun.
And I am really happy that they buffed Abathur. Not because I felt like he needed it himself, but in comparison to someone like Brightwing, who is also a global hero, and soon we're going to have someone like Zagara. I mean, you kind of got to be in line with that a little bit.
Yeah. Oh, man. Love me some Brightwing.
All the Zerg heroes seem like they're really, really strong.
Well, it is being done by the StarCraft team, so maybe that's it.
This is true. Just like StarCraft heroes in general are really strong.
Yeah, I really can't. Well, Tychus. If Tychus is really strong, it's just one of those.
Tychus is insane.
Yeah.
Tychus is so strong. A lot of people don't realize how much damage he can do.
He's really hard to play, though, whereas I feel like something Tassadar, I feel like, is really kind of easy to step into and do well with. I think Tychus is like I play him and I just die. I'm terrible with Tychus. But I've gone up against plenty of Tychus that completely rock me.
Yeah, like you're like, okay, I can take Tychus. Okay, no, I can't.
No. He's just going to walk backwards while melting off my face.
Yeah.
He's rough. His kiting ability is just awesome. And I'm terrible at it. So...
And that's another thing, is like, when you have Abathur, like, you can ult another assassin to get that extra damage burst that you need. Rather than, like, you go into a fight, you're like, okay, they have, like, 3 tanks, what do we do? Like, 2 support, 3 tank, it's like, okay, we have a Tychus and we have a Kerrigan. Ult one of those guys, see which one works best.
Yeah.
And Tychus just shreds through everyone. Like, it's an AoE. Okay, well, it's all Tychus. That's the greatest thing to do. It's going to be a lot different, though, once they actually start doing like a draft mode in the game rather than having to do it through a chat. So I think we'll all see some really, really cool stuff once that comes into the game, like when the competitive play starts really taking
any kind of ranked play, even if it's non-draft, I'm really looking forward to. But I'm hoping we get a ranked draft. That would just be wonderful.
So fun.
And you brought up kind of the next topic, which is what do you ult? And damage always seems to be the best bet. It's also probably going to be the easiest if you're newer at this game to steal, particularly a ranged. You know, because you're untalented, you're not going to have some of those abilities other people took, like maybe a get health on attack ability they took to kind of help them out. So going to be completely untalented. A range will help you out a lot. Your ult's probably going to contribute more, and you could just be a useless melee who dies immediately.
Well, and that's another thing, is like you have to know how to play just about every hero in the game in order to play Abathur effectively.
I think you could get by without knowing supports. There have been very few times. I mean, I've taken a Tassadar a couple times. I've taken a couple tanks when I need to, but very rarely am I ever like, I'm going to contribute an extra Lily to this fight right now.
That's just frustrating. She's even harder to kill.
Yeah, who would even want that? I don't even respect myself doing that.
No, but like the thing is that because of he's super difficult to play because you have to make the right decision who you want to ult. Like you have to be able to make that decision for your team, because your team can't be sitting there like, hey, you need to ult this guy because we need this.
And for those of you who aren't following, when they say ult, they mean clone.
Yeah,
right, and that's the only ult you get. Most heroes have
an option.
In fact, every single other hero has an option. Abathur has one.
Clone. Just clone. But when you look at his kit, like you kind of get it. Like he's unique enough. I don't think he needs option A, option B for his ultimate ability.
No, he's pretty straightforward, and I think because of his skill cap as is, he doesn't need a second one.
Exactly. Exactly. So, any closing remarks on Abathur?
I mean, the best thing to do with him is have a friend, and usually you can make a friend pretty quickly in this game. Lich Kings and me are always high-fiving all game because he really benefits from having that skill shot running with him. Just that little bit of extra damage. He has a great slow. He has his own, death coil now to take off a runaway guy, but just being able to give him maybe a speed boost or that little extra shot of damage we're just congratulating each other all game.
Abathur, Lich King, Abathur.
Ah,
Buddy, exactly.
And
You don't die.
And if all you got is range characters, that can be frustrating because range characters, they're squishy. They want to hide back, and sometimes they don't even let you get in range for your skill shot. So having a good melee buddy helps out a lot.
Yeah. My only closing remark would be if you want to play Abathur, a lot of times, people are still getting in the alpha every day, and they're always asking me, what should I do to kind of prepare, play practice games, whatever. And most of the time I just say, no, just pick a hero you think you're going to like. Just get into a game with real people. That's the best way to learn. Don't do that with Abathur. Please don't. Like, play some practice games, learn how his abilities work, and at least get a somewhat of a feel for him before you take it into a live game, because, man.
Right. I would say, much like we just talked about, you should have a feel for about every assassin hero and most of the warriors before you go Abathur, because that's what you're going to be copying.
Yep.
Yeah.
Something to add more firepower to the situation.
Yeah, like you said, it's just like focusing on getting a general feel for the game and making sure that you can play at least every role kind of okay, and then you can just build on top of that with Abathur. He's a lot of fun though. Like I enjoy playing him the couple times I did.
Yeah. Well, awesome. Go out there, learn him, and try him out, guys. If there's going to be Abathurs in my solo queues, I would at least like them to be competent Abathurs. That would be nice. Abathurs
Well, you hope that with every character.
Well, yes. But, you get a Lily who's never played a Lily before, it'll probably be just fine.
Sure, but every once in a while you get in that game with the witch doctor who locks you in the zombies, and, well, you just roll your eyes.
Yeah, although sometimes that's my fault, because I run into it. I've done it. It happens.
And you're sitting there like trying to yell at him through the screen. You're like, just take down the wall, please.
But I'll lose my zombies that pop up afterwards.
And he's just looking at you like, arise, chicken, arise. Anyways, let's take some emails before we end the show. You can send your emails to itncast@gmail.com. Our first email today, well, technically our first email today was in strategies, but our first emails for emails, this comes to us from Iskande. Thank you for the phonetic guide to how to pronounce your name. I really appreciate it. Iskande writes, hey guys, love the show. Really excited for more Garrett and Dills. And liking Kyle too. He's new to me. I love that.
Sweet.
I
understand that, man. New voices are traumatizing on shows.
Yeah. Luckily you have very sultry tones, so I'm sure it's easy to get used to. I'm sure he likes you too, D-Day. You were
maybe.
You're a new face. Anyway, Iskande says, I have a question and a cool game story about Nova for you. Someone's an angry chicken listener because they're trying to give us their game stories. The question is there a way to scroll up in chat and look at what someone had previously said in game? I can't seem to figure out what button it is or where to click. The chat is there temporarily and then it disappears to never be seen again. No, there isn't. If you were in game, the chat is terrible. It's there, and if you didn't read it, I guess it wasn't that important because it fades away very briefly after.
Makes me cry when people do that because it's like, I want to read what they say, but I'm in the middle of a fight and I can't really be paying attention to it. And then it just fades away right when you can.
Yep. It's just like, okay, when is Garrett's wanting to get another game with me, but it's that bug where it's just a bunch of jarble of numbers, so I have to ask him who he is. Yeah, the chat's rough.
I still can't message people while I'm in a game.
Really? You just hit /R.
So I type /R?
You have to enter to activate the type box.
Yeah.
And then I think you can just you tab and it'll go through anyone who's whispered you.
Oh, okay.
Actually, I think you might be right.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's tab.
I pretty much message Garrett, be like, "Who dis?" every time.
Yep. I'm just like, it's Garrett, and it's gotten to the point now where I just do like a arrow pointing towards me, Garrett, and then I type my message because I'm so used to people not knowing who it is because of that bug. Anyway, we're not gonna. So sorry, Iskande, that's not a thing, but we'll also read your story on air. He said, I was playing in Blackheart Bay as Sergeant Hammer and was jumped by a Nova outside of our base. She bursted me down to about 5% life, and I started to book it back to our base, which is to my west. Our ETC jumps in to stun her, but accidentally knocks her closer to me, but to the southwest. I run north up and around our fort as she casts Triple Tap. As I run around the fort, all 3 hits from Triple Tap hit the fort, and I lived. Science. It's not really science. It's how it's supposed to work.
So you just have this maniacal laugh as you like go around the fort, like, heh, gotcha.
And this is why you pick Orbital Strike.
It's true. I mean, when we first started this game, like we were all like triple tap. How can this be a thing? It's so OP. And then eventually you learn that you can body block it. You run behind a building. Basically, you put anything between you and the tapping.
Yeah, and you don't get hit. The thing, it's still good. It's
It is
really
really
good
good.
in one-on-one. You catch someone out in the middle of nowhere, they're friggin' dead, and there's nothing they can do about it. And there is very few deaths that feel worse than dying to a triple tap in this game, because when you do die to it, it feels like there was nothing you could do. But go find a tree or a tower or your local friendly neighborhood warrior and just body block it.
Usually a good 60% of your life gone through the ult.
Yeah, it can be rough, but it really is. It's come around that Orbital Strike is kind of the thing to go with, and I believe we're going to be talking about that in our next email from Faust, who says, "Hello, Nexagons. After all the Nova talk, I was inspired to play a few rounds as her. I keep hearing you guys talk about triple tap, but not much about Precision Strike." I always call it Orbital Strike. It's Precision Strike. When you guys talk about Hearthstone, you talk about cost versus benefit of cards. Precision Strike has an unlimited range. This seems a valuable trait to me. Depending on your playstyle, couldn't an ability you can hit anywhere on the map, given a high DPS skill, a run for its money? Thanks for the heads up on heroes, Faust. Yes, Faust, you're absolutely right. And as I think if you've been listening, you've kind of gathered from today's episode that that Precision Strike is the favorite skill now. I was going to get Dills' take on it, but he had to run into work, so he unfortunately. We'll ask him next week. I'm sure he'll talk about it. But
yeah, and it's very much the way to go right now. Not only just because it's area effect, it's global range. Like you could kill multiple heroes with this. If you are good at those sort of delay abilities, you can drop it in front of someone, and someone thinking they're safe, walking back to their base from anywhere, could just drop dead. But really, I think it shines in maps where there's, well, actually, all the maps have some sort of turn-in ability. I mean, whether it be activating the dragon, you have to stand there for a little bit, turning in your coins, getting the tribute down, getting hit anywhere in that time interrupts it. And sometimes it gives your team enough time to get there before it gets taken from you.
Yeah, global stuff like this is great. Even though I think she's really weak now, and I don't play her anymore. Tyranda's Sentinel was always great for those kind of interrupts.
Tyranda's really good right now.
Is she?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I cannot get behind her anymore.
What's the issue? Just losing the mark really take you down?
Yeah, and I just feel like everyone else is better. I don't know.
Okay. Well, let's put it this way. If you want to lane with Tychus, like one of these times I'll play Tychus, you can play Tyrande. You use that passive on someone, they die instantly.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
25%, or what is it? How much extra damage is it?
I don't think it's 25%. That seems really effing high.
I'm off to the internets.
Yeah, I don't know what it is off the top of my head. No one else talk while I'm typing to fill time. No one else talk to fill time.
25% for 4 seconds.
No, it is 25%.
Yeah.
Okay, never mind. All right.
Yeah, it's really, really good. Like, Tychus and Tyrande were good before because of the heal. Now it's still good because she just helps you kill someone super quick.
Okay.
But yeah, she's still really good. She's good initiate and all that, and it's just one of those things that you just gotta like tweak around with for a little while until you find the sweet spot for her.
Gotcha. Okay, well, I'll give her another shot then.
Well, and her speed boost heal is just incredible.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Do you go with speed boost over cloak? I feel like cloak is so good because people can't target it then.
I feel like if we work together well, I would prefer cloak because I would get to know, when you were going to cast it. But just playing like in just a straight up queuing by myself situation, a speed boost is something I'm always happy for. Cloak is something that I often ruin accidentally.
Okay. All right. DJ, can you weigh in? Do you have a preference between the two?
Well, it really depends. I like Orbital Strike. I say that because she says Orbital Strike every time she casts it.
Starfall?
We're talking about Nova.
We're talking about the heal augments for Tyrande. Speed boost or cloak.
I see how we got confused with the cloak.
Yeah.
And
Gotcha. Now we're on Tyrande.
The cloaking over the speed boost, it really depends on who you're playing with. Like we can have we'll build a strategy with a stealth build, like an initiate with her. I can't remember what it's called, but her stealth ult.
stock.
Yeah, you could build around that, or you could build around just having one person being able to cloak or speed them up real quick and get an early advantage, and then be able to help people get out of fights if you need to.
Right.
Like if someone gets caught and they're getting snared or something, you can cast it on them. Hopefully they'll get out of there. But if you cast like the stealth, they're still going to be there and they're still going to have that snare. But you cast a speed buff, they might be able to get out of there.
Okay. All right. Cool. I'm going to definitely be trying some Tyrande this week. You've talked me back into playing her again. So.
Awesome.
Cool. Thanks for your emails, everyone. Again, that's itncast@gmail.com if you want to send them in, and that'll do it for today's show. D-Day, man, thanks so much for filling in for Dills at such late notice. We really appreciate you coming on.
Oh, no problem. Thanks for inviting me.
Where can people find you, by the way? Twitter, stream, anything like that you want to promote?
I stream on Twitch pretty regularly. I'm going to get into it a bit more now because I just got a new computer. Still got to put it together, though. And then you can find me on Twitter at @DDageRacing. And same thing for Twitch. It's /DDageRacing.
And that's DDAYDRASIN for those of you who aren't quite sure how many D's are in that.
Yeah, D-Day like the event that happened, and then Drayson.
Yep. Very cool. You also got this new sexy overlay. I don't know who made it for you.
I don't know.
I have no idea. I have no clue. It looks real
I think
nice, though.
Garrett made it for me, but
What?
I can't remember.
Oh, that guy's such a jerk. Anyways, as always, Into the Nexus is a production of amove.tv. You can see more about this and all of the other shows that we do over there. If you want to catch me and Dills talking about more Blizzard games, we do a show about Hearthstone called The Angry Chicken. Check that out. Check out Amove Radio with me and Kyle, where we talk about a lot of different games. We talked a lot about E3 this week. We'll be talking more about it next. So all that can be found over at amove.tv. One more time, our email is itncast@gmail.com. Our forums are over at forum.amove.tv. We record the show live every Thursday night at 9 p.m. Eastern right here on twitch.tv/amovetv. Please subscribe to the channel if you're a fan. Our mobile live stream is provided by Alpha Gig Radio, which you can get by going to mobile.alphagigradio.com. If you can't tune into the live video stream, that's an awesome way to get it on any device. And our Twitter is at ITNcast. I can be found at Garrett Art, and Kyle can be found at Kyle Ferguson. Again, our guest today, D-Day, can be found at D-Day Drazen. Big thanks to Brian Griffith, the musician responsible for our intro music. His website is briangriffithmusic.com. And you can find my personal graphic design portfolio over at nomoonart.com. So go check that out. Also, thanks to those of you who left us 5-star reviews in the iTunes store this week. Big thanks to user245tiger and Madatukia. Thank you guys very much for your reviews. If you're a podcast listener via iTunes and you like what we're doing, please leave us a review. It helps the show out a lot. Kyle, where can people find you when you're not doing this show?
Well, like you said, you can find me on Amove Radio, and you can also find me for one last week on Biggest Fan Podcast. This last week, we are going to be biggest fans of Godzilla.
Gojira!
Gojira!
Gojira.
Which I'm super excited about recording that. We missed this week, so we're going to be doing that next week before my big move, and I disappear for a little bit.
Yeah.
But, yeah, and you should follow me on Twitter, at Kyle Ferguson.
You're a funny man.
And I just broke 600 followers, and I'm pretty damn proud of that. Don't you talk, Garrett.
600 followers? We need to get you above that. No, I'm going to talk because you need more followers. Follow Kyle Ferguson, damn it.
2 S's. It makes me Scottish.
Yeah. FERGUSSON with Kyle in front of that, with an @ symbol in front of that, and you'll find him on Twitter. Don't forget to check out our sponsors, doghousesystems.com. The code to use is ITN. That stands for Into the Nexus. That'll get you double memory on your next Doghouse Systems gaming rig. They've got brand new Blizzard licensed World of Warcraft art special edition chassis. They're gorgeous. You get your Horde or your Alliance version. We've got a Angry Chicken special edition up there, or you can get one of their regular computers. You use that code, you get double memory for free, and you support the show directly in the process. We're also sponsored by tweakedaudio.com, makers of just awesome noise-reducing earbuds. So go check them out. Same code, ITN. It'll get you 30% off and free shipping off of your entire order of noise-reducing earbuds. Get some for you, get some for a friend. They're great, they're affordable. I've had the same pair for like 2 years now, and man, I've done terrible things to those earbuds. Sat on them, sweated into them.
Oh my, yeah.
You know, had the phone fall out of your pocket while it's still plugged in and yank on them. It's no good.
I mean, if I'm really gonna give them one big salute, it's the fact that I removed my earbuds by yanking them, and they haven't died.
Really, I don't do that on purpose. I've done it on accident, but
because you shouldn't. Because
it's
it ruins
so bad
earbuds.
for any connector whatsoever.
But they're still going.
Awesome. Well, we thank them for their support. We thank you guys for listening. One more thanks to D-Day. Check out his stream. Thanks for filling in, man. And we will see you all next week for episode 10. We've been doing it for 10 weeks. Yeah!
We did it.
Into the Nexus. See you then, everyone.
Take care.
Thanks.